Hey folks, I appreciate y'all coming back to the channel. Today we're going to do a video on, surprise, another Staccato. Like I said, over the last year and a half or so, I bought several Staccatos and STIs, and I'm kind of catching up, just doing some reviews on them. So today we're going to do a review on the Staccato C2, which is the small grip, aluminum frame, shorter slide, but it's the X Limited with the Dawson Ice Comp. What does all that mean? Basically, let's break it down for you. This is a standard Staccato C2. If you'll notice, I do have the X or the tack pattern grip on there. Staccato doesn't sell their C2s with the tack grip on it, so I stippled it myself. Turned out nice. It's almost identical to the Staccato texturing, and it feels good in the hand. So I did change that. The C2 is their compact version. It's a little bit smaller than a P. It's got a shorter grip and a shorter slide. All right. With the X version, the X means that it has the window cuts right here where the serrations are. So those are the X cuts. It also comes with a DLC barrel. That's part of the limited, I guess. I don't really know. And then it comes with a threaded barrel that has a Dawson Ice Comp attached to it. Have I done anything to this gun? Yes, I have. I put a standard Staccato short trigger in it, just like I do all of them. I also put an EGW thumb safety on it, just like I do with all my 1911s. It doesn't matter if it's a 1911 or a 2011. It's going to get a STI short trigger, and it's going to get a EGW thumb safety. You can see I've also got a Steiner MPS mounted on it with a Surefire X300 Ultra. This X300 I've had for years. I'm going to come back to the Steiner here in just a minute and give you some thoughts on that. This gun also comes with a 2.5 pound trigger. Now, with the 2.5 pound trigger, when I got the gun in, I took it to the range and I shot it. Out of 3 or 4 mags, I had about 5 or 6 times where the hammer followed. That's not a good thing. Luckily, it caught on the half-cock notch, but that is not good. So I tore the gun apart. I looked at it. The sear spring was really light. You could tell they had tuned the sear spring, but the sear spring was real light. I put a little tension back on the sear spring to where I thought it should be, which increased the trigger weight considerably. It took it up to about 3.5 pounds, took it back to the range, shot 4 or 5 more mags through it, and continued to have hammer follow issue. So I brought it home, took the sear out, measured the height of the sear. First of all, the sear, you could tell it was an unmodified sear. It was a drop-in part. And that's what STI does. They're a production company, and it was a drop-in part. But with the 2.5 pound trigger, I expected to have a little handwork on the sear, but nonetheless, there was no handwork on the sear. It was a unmodified part. So I looked at the sear. The sear appeared to be okay. I measured the overall height of the sear against a factory brand new STI sear, and the factory sear that came in the gun was quite a bit shorter. So I took the brand new sear that I had, and of course I put my primary and secondary cuts on it like I do all of them, put it back in the gun, had the sear spring already tensioned to where it needed to be, and lo and behold, it came out with a 2.5 pound trigger. So let's test this trigger and see. Now, since then, I have taken it to the range. I have 0 problems with hammer follow now. Let's test this thing and see where the trigger's coming out to be. First pull, try to pull it straight back. Comes out to 2 pounds, 10 ounces. Let's do another one. We'll do 3 or 4 and see how it goes. This one right here, pull it straight back. 2 pounds, 7 ounces. Let's do it at least one more time and see where it comes in. We're going to pull straight back. 2 pounds, 7.8 ounces. And you know what? Just one more time. Let's give it another pull, and so we can get a good average of 4 pulls. So straight back on that trigger. Comes to 2 pounds, 8.7 ounces. Let's do the average. 2 pounds, 8.5 ounces. So that is 2.5 pounds. So, and that is with extra tension on the sear spring. So that is one complaint I had about this gun. I was not very happy when I got this gun and it had hammer fall, especially at the price that you pay for this model. Now, I'm probably going to get burned in the comments, and it's okay, but most people think Staccatos never have any problems. You buy a Staccato, it's going to be perfect out of the box. They never have any problems with their guns, and for the most part, Staccatos are okay right out of the box. You don't have any problems with them. But every manufacturer turns out a dud every once in a while, even Staccato. Now, I will say I gave Staccato's customer service a heads up. I did not want them to fix the gun. I can do it myself. So I sent them an email telling them what happened. I sent them a video. I also, or not a video, some pictures of the overall length of the sear being too short and the new sear with the proper length. Told them what was happening, and they requested that I send the gun back in so they could look at it. I didn't want to send the gun back in. I wanted to keep the gun because I'd already fixed the gun. So I declined that offer, told them that I just wanted them to know for future reference that I knew that they were big on their quality control and customer service, and I wanted them to just be aware of what I had gotten. I wasn't trying to be a jerk. I wasn't trying to be nasty with them. I was honestly just wanting them to know, hey, there's a gun out here that if it was in the hands of somebody that didn't know how to fix it, you know, it would have left a bad taste in somebody's mouth. And I'm not gonna say it didn't leave a bad taste in my mouth, but I can understand. So took this gun out once I got it fixed. Man, it shoots great. It really does. I'm not going to tell you how it shoots compared to some other guns because the next video will be a gun with this compared to another similar gun. So I'm not going to tell you how it shoots compared to that other gun. Now, I will say, even though it has the short grip and the short slide, once they put this Ice Comp on there, it's a little bit longer than the Staccato P. So if you have a holster that fits the P, it probably won't fit this. Yeah, I make holsters, so when I found out that it was a little bit longer, all I did was heat up the end of the holster, press this into it, and molded the end around it. So now it fits the P or the C2 with the Dawson Ice Comp. Now, one thing I do like, there's another comp on the market called Threat Cadre. It's a little bit shorter than this, and it actually has a better look, a more aesthetic look to it. It slopes down right here instead of being a rounded angle there. It's just a nice angled slope. I think it looks better. It's a little bit shorter, and it probably would fit in a Staccato P holster. I don't know if it is more effective or less effective than the Dawson Ice Comp. I would have a hard time believing that Dawson would put something out that wasn't very effective, and it is very effective. But I don't know if the Threat Cadre is better or worse, but I do like this Dawson Ice Comp. Now, if you have a threaded barrel Staccato, you can still get the Dawson Ice Comp, but you have to send it to them. They don't want to sell it to you for you to put on. They want to put it on because they shim it correctly to the slide, and they also change the springs out. So they want you to send the gun to them so they can time the comp the way they want it, which I don't really have a problem with that, other than the fact that I think most of us can do it ourselves if we want to. But that's just the way Dawson's philosophy is. And hey, if you want a Dawson Ice Comp, that's what you're gonna have to do unless you buy it like this. Let's talk about this little Steiner MPS. As you can see, it's a fairly futuristic style sight. It is an enclosed emitter sight, and I will tell you, out of all the enclosed emitter sights on the market, it's my favorite. Why is it my favorite? But before I tell you why it's my favorite, I'm going to tell you that I've said it before. I am a police officer, and I'm also on our what we call special operations unit, but it's a SWAT team. It's just what we call it. We just now this year went to Red Dot Optics. Our chief allowed us to do it, and I was thankful for it. I was adamant, and luckily I was the one that got to do the process for it. But I was adamant about enclosed emitters. Now, on a everyday carry gun that somebody's going to conceal carry, I don't consider that to be a big problem to have an open emitter. But on a gun that a police officer or someone in the military is going to carry, I do consider that a big deal. And I'm not going to go into the whole reasons why. That's a whole reason that I gave in the class for that, but I'm not going to go into the reasons why on this video. Anyway, we narrowed it down to the Acro P2, not the P1, the Holosun 509T V2, which is the version 2, and the Steiner MPS. The Acro was immediately taken off the table. Why? The Acros are good sights. The new Acro P2 lasts, the battery on it lasts a long time. So why is it the first one off the table? Because you can't get them. Nobody has them. I looked and looked and looked, called and called and called. Nobody could get me the number of sights that I needed in a timely manner. They had no idea when they were going to get them, and they're almost like unobtainium. You can't find them. Every once in a while, you can go to a website and they'll have one in stock, but they're few and far between. Next, I went to the Holosun 509T and the Steiner MPS. I'm going to break this down to you and give you the short version. The reason we went with the 509 over the Steiner is quite simply battery life. The advertised battery life on the Holosun 509 is 50,000 hours. The advertised battery life on the Steiner is like 12 or 20,000, something like that, which you would think if I can get a year out of the battery life, I'm happy. Because we run it on a high intensity. Not the highest, but really high. That being said, the Holosun will not make it 5 years on one battery at the intensity that we run it at. It will, however, make it a year. And if it'll make it a year, I'm fine with that. Now, on paper, the Steiner makes it a year. But on the intensity level we run it at, I tested this, it lasted a little over 6 months, round about 7. That, for me, was the deal breaker. I wanted the battery to last at least 1 year without having to change it. The Steiner is a heavy-duty built optic. It's got a 7075 aluminum housing. It also has these polymer side pieces on it that protrude up to help protect the battery compartment. If you look at Aaron Cowan's review of the Steiner MPS, it's a very durable optic. It's great. I love it. I really, really like this optic. I like it better than the Holosun 509. The only problem is the battery life is just not there. It's just not. If they could have given this another 10,000 hours of battery life, it would have probably been good. And they could have done it by the tint that they have on the glass, but they didn't want to put too much tint on there. This is a very, very clear optic. The glass is spectacular in it. The dot is nice and crisp in it. It's easy to adjust with a shell casing. These elevation and windage adjustments are super easy to adjust. The battery's easy to change. It's right there on the top. The brightness settings are nice and tactile. They're right there on the side. You know which one you're hitting when you hit it. It's a great optic. They just need to increase the battery life. If they had done that, we would have gone with them. But instead, we went with the Holosun 509T, which is still a great optic in itself. It's my second favorite enclosed emitter. But if this one had had a better battery life, we would have gone with this one. But anyway, it's not only about the optic, it's also about the gun. So I'm going to do a follow-up review on this gun on the range. It'll probably be the next one you see. And I'm going to compare it to maybe a C2 with a Mayhem, with a Genghis Comp in it. Was it Mayhem Syndicate? Genghis Comp? No. I can't remember who does the Genghis Comp. But anyway, I've got a C2 with the Genghis comp in it, so I'm going to compare these two together. Anyway, I appreciate y'all watching today. If you hadn't already, subscribe to the channel, please. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. And stand by, because I am going to be doing a range review on this one with that other gun. So I appreciate y'all stopping in. Y'all have a good one.